Hey, fifth grade, it's Miss Morgan. So today's math lesson is about quadrilaterals. Have you heard of that word before? Quadrilaterals. These are shapes, but these shapes are special because they only have four sides. Quad in the word quadrilateral means four. Quad means four. So a quadrilateral is a shape that has four sides. So first you're going to watch this video that you're watching right now. Then you are going to answer or fill in the chart of the attributes for the shapes. Now, an attribute means the things that describe the shape. So an attribute for me would be I have brown hair, I have brown eyes, and I am 5 feet 4 inches tall. That would be an attribute for me because that describes me. So after we talk about the attributes of the shapes, you are going to fill in the chart and turn it into me for your grade. So I'm going to share my screen. All right. First, let's look here. We're going to talk about some quadrilateral vocabulary words first. So these are some important words that we have to know what they mean in order to describe the attributes of the quadrilaterals. Remember, a quadrilateral is a shape that has four sides. So if I say side, everyone say this word with me, side. A side is one line of the shape always connected to another side. So here's a picture. This shape is a rectangle. It has 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. So this is a side, this is a side, side, and side. Okay? Next word, parallel. Say that word with me. Parallel. Parallel means the sides of a shape that are across from each other and are the same distance apart at all points, and they never meet. So the sides will never touch each other. They are the same distance apart at all points. Here's a picture of some parallel lines. These lines are parallel. They are the same distance apart, and they will never run into each other. Parallel lines, parallel lines. So if I look back up here at this rectangle, this side and this side are parallel. This side is also parallel to this side. So parallel lines can go this way or they can go this way. The word is parallel. That's a very important word. All right, the next word, opposite. Some of you may have heard that word before, opposite. Oh, sorry, let me turn my phone on. Opposite means that they are across from each other. Sides that are across from each other. Now, we've heard of the word opposite before when we're talking about words, like hot and cold are opposites. Big and little are opposites. But when we're talking about shapes, we're talking about the sides. So this side of my square is opposite to this side. This side of my square is opposite to this side. So it's the side that is across from each other. So let's look at this example. So side AB, I'm naming it the points, the vertices, A, B. Side AB is opposite to side CD. Also, this side is opposite to this side. So it's the sides that are across from each other. Okay, let's keep going. Now the new word is congruent. Say that word with me. Congruent. One more time, because this is an important word. Congruent, okay? Congruent is another way of saying equal. We know what equal means. Equal, they are the same. So congruent sides are sides that are equal in length. They are the same length, same size. So let's look at this example. This side of my rectangle is opposite to this side, but it's also congruent, which means it is the same length. So if this side is 5 inches, then that means that this side is also 5 inches because they are equal. This side is 2 inches. So that means that it is congruent to the opposite side, which is also 2 inches. So opposite sides are congruent. These two are congruent and these two are congruent. Congruent means equal. All right, last vocabulary word, right angle. A right angle is when two sides connect to each other at a 90-degree angle. If you don't know what a 90-degree angle is, I'm showing you in my picture. It makes an L shape when two lines reach each other. Here's an example of 4 90-degree angles. This corner is a 90-degree angle. It makes an L shape. This corner is a 90-degree angle. It makes an L shape. This corner and this corner. This square has 4 right angles, 4 of them. Look up here at this shape though. This shape, these angles kind of come in a little bit. It's not an exact L. They're kind of slanted a little bit. So this shape has 0 right angles. So it does not have any right angles, okay? So let's review our vocabulary words one more time. Say them with me, ready? Side, parallel, opposite, congruent, and right angle. All right, good job. Let's keep going. Now this chart is helping us to classify quadrilaterals. Classify means to put them into groups based on the attributes. Remember we said attributes is how we describe the shape, all right? So let's look at this shape. This is a square. The square has 4 right angles. Remember we said a right angle is an angle that makes an L shape. 4 congruent sides, which means congruent means equal. So that means all 4 of the sides are the same length. So if this side is 7 inches, then this side is 7, this side is 7, and this side is 7. The word is congruent. 4 congruent sides. Also, a square has opposite sides that are parallel. That has 2 of our vocabulary words. Well, 3 really, 3 vocabulary words. Opposite, the ones across from each other. Sides are parallel. Remember what parallel means? Well, if we forget, let's roll back up here. Parallel means that the sides of the shape are across from each other. They are the same distance apart at all points. So they look like this, parallel sides, okay? So a square has opposite sides parallel. This side is parallel to this side is parallel to this side. They will never cross each other, ever, because they're the same distance apart. They will never run into each other. All right, let's look at the next shape. This shape is a rhombus. Say that with me, rhombus. The H here is silent, rhombus. My rhombus is also like a parallelogram. is another word for a parallelogram that's not on here. But a rhombus or parallelogram has 4 congruent sides. Oh, just like a square. 4 congruent sides. That means this side is equal to this side, is equal to this side, is equal to this side. The only difference, look, it does not have 4 right angles because they're slanted. They do not make an L shape. The opposite sides are parallel. This side is parallel to this side. This side is parallel to this side. They will never run into each other. And the opposite sides are congruent. Well, if it has 4 congruent sides, then obviously the opposite sides are going to be congruent, obviously, because all 4 of them are congruent. What does congruent mean? Equal. Okay. Let's look at the rectangle. A rectangle also has 4 right angles. The right angle is an angle that makes the L shape. This is a right angle, this is a right angle, this is a right angle, this is a right angle. Just like the square. The square also has 4 right angles. A rectangle also has opposite sides parallel. Notice it does not have 4 congruent sides because this side is not the same as this side. So it can't be all 4 sides congruent. But it can have opposite sides congruent, which means this side is congruent to this side, and this side is congruent to this side. So these sides are equal, and these sides are equal. Not all 4 sides, just the 2 opposite sides. And then the sides are parallel, so this side is parallel to this side is parallel to this side. All right, last shape, trapezoid. That's a funny sounding word. Say that with me. Trapezoid. A trapezoid, it only has 1 set of parallel lines. Look at this shape. Which sides do you think are parallel? I'm going to give you a second. Look at this shape. Which sides are parallel? Is it this side and this side, or is it this side and this side? You're right. It's the top and the bottom. The top side and the bottom side are parallel. The 2 on the side cannot be parallel because eventually, if I kept going, they would run into each other. They are not the same distance apart. They would eventually crash into each other. So this side and this side are the only parallel sides. It does not have any right angles. It does not have opposite sides congruent. Now, these might be congruent, but we don't know for sure. It only has opposite sides, 1 set of parallel lines, 1 set, okay? This last thing I want to show you before you go to fill in your chart is this poster. Now remember, a quadrilateral, say that word with me again, quadrilateral, has 4 sides and 4 angles. Now, they don't have to always be right angles, but they do have to be angles. An angle can even be something really skinny. It can be fat or skinny or a right angle, okay? So 4 sides and 4. That's why it's called quadrilaterals. Quad means 4. So we have a parallelogram club. The rule is you must have 2 pairs of parallel sides in order to be in the parallelogram club. Well, look at all of the ones that are in the parallelogram club. We have all of these in here. Rectangles are in the parallelogram club because they have 2 opposite sides parallel. Squares are in the parallelogram club. Rhombus is in the parallelogram club. Here's some other shapes that are in the parallelogram club. This is not a rhombus, Because a rhombus has all four sides congruent, just like a square, except they're not 90-degree angles, they're like this. So this is a parallelogram, this is a rhombus. All right, now let's look in the rectangle club. A rectangle is a parallelogram. In the rectangle club, you must have four right angles. A square has four right angles, and a rectangle has four right angles. A parallelogram like this kind of parallelogram, does not have four right angles. A rhombus does not have four right angles. So a rhombus cannot be in the rectangle club. All right, let's last look at the rhombus club. The rhombus club, you must have four equal sides. So this rhombus, this side is congruent, this side is congruent, this side is congruent. It's just like a square, except the square gets into all three clubs. But a rhombus is not a square because a square has four right angles. A rhombus does not have four right angles. This is not a right angle because it does not make an L shape. This is not a right angle because it does not make an L shape. It makes more like a V shape. But a square can get into all three clubs. It can be in the rectangle club because it has four right angles. It can be in the rhombus club because it has four equal sides. And it can be in the parallelogram club because it has two pairs of parallel sides. Parallel, 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 and parallel. The square is the most magnificent shape of all because it gets into all of the clubs. But it is still only a square because it has four right angles. The only shape besides a rectangle that has four right angles and four equal sides. So make sure that you use this chart and this chart on your classwork assignment. So now I'm going to click over to the classwork for today. Zoom in a little bit. So first you're going to watch this lesson. Here's the two charts that I gave you. Now, this is your classwork. Next, fill in this chart with the name of each quadrilateral shape and describe each shape's attributes. Use the attributes box to help you. Here's my attributes box. Remember, attributes are the things that describe the shape. Quadrilateral names. Here's the names of the 5 different types of shapes: square, rectangle, rhombus, trapezoid, parallelogram. Here's my attributes. Opposite sides are parallel, 4 congruent or equal sides. Opposite sides are congruent or equal. 4 right angles. Only 1 set of parallel sides, and 0 right angles. So I'm going to just do this first one with you. What is this shape? What do you think this shape is? It has 1, 2, 3, 4 equal sides. Let's go back up here and look. 4 congruent sides. Congruent means equal. It must be a square. So I'm going to come, look, in my quadrilateral names, I'm going to take square, and I'm going to copy, and paste, square. Now, I need to know the attributes of a square. Let's look at my attributes. I know a square has 4 congruent sides. So I'm going to copy and paste. I know a square has 4 right angles. Copy and paste. I know a square has opposite sides that are equal. Opposite sides equal. Copy and paste. I know a square has opposite sides parallel. Opposite sides parallel. Copy and paste. Let's go back and check at the top to make sure that we got all of them. We have 4 right angles, 4 congruent sides, opposite sides parallel, and also opposite sides are congruent. So we got all of them. So now it's your turn to go ahead and work on the next shape. You have this shape, and then this shape, and this shape. You have 4 more shapes to complete, okay? I'm going to leave this one finished for you so that you can see the square, but you have to do the rest of them, all right? You got this. Use your chart and return back to this video. What is this? Return back to this video if you need to see the answers, okay? Good luck. You're going to do a great job.